respectfully, the older generations, they just need to step down and leave the rest to us, okay? And when I say older, I'm talking about Gen X and above, Gen X plus, right? Leave the rest to millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and that might surprise you guys. And I don't know why it does, because you guys have had your time, you've had your stint, right? And look at the state of everything. Now, I'm going to display this to you guys about what I'm saying, because this isn't an attack. I'm just noticing that with age, certain things do happen. I'm not talking about things like looking older or what's happening in your body. I'm talking about the way that we think, because I've been realizing there's so much more wisdom behind having childlike faith than the more I think about it, the more I realize the beauty in it. And so I'm going to depict this to you, and it all started in this anime I was watching now. Just hear me out, because it's a good storyline. When I explain to you the story, you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. And then I feel like if I use something that's not like that's not happening, then it doesn't have to be about me trying to attack anybody or whatever. It's just for you to conceptualize the idea. Because as you guys know, I always say, does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? And obviously art imitates life, hence why every story is pretty much just a copy of a story that God's already written. Anyway, and a large reason I want to talk about this, again, you guys know, is because we've been talking about how Moses' generation did not make it to the promised land, right? They got to see it, but they didn't actually get to cross over. And I feel like there's so many things, so many reasons why they did not. Me and this sunshine. Anyways, so here's the story in this anime, okay? I want you guys to hear me out. So I just randomly picked it because I've been like, it's literally the only thing I can do to cope with having to exist in this planet right now. And it all starts out that pretty much they're in this town, and in this town, at the back of the town, there's this big, it looks like a tree, but it's like a tower. And at the start of the show, all these demons are just falling out from the sky, right? From this tower. And apparently, periodically, every whatever, these demons fly out and they terrorize the towns and the cities. Now, this is important to say, because them ignoring this tower and whatever's happening in this tower obviously is not an option, but it's the option they've been taking. So every 80 years or something, this tower pops up. And then at the top of it, to stop all of this, they have to kill this dragon called Draga, I think it is. And who's at the top of the tower. But in order to do that, you have to face all the layers of the tower, and there's all demons all throughout the entire tower. And this dragon is pretty much almost impossible to kill. So the last person who killed said dragon is King Gilgamesh, right? Now, this is really so interesting, right? Because again, these demons, other guy who's working for the Kingdom of Darkness comes from Babylon. I'm like, we literally just be copying. This is what I'm saying. It's just a copy. But nevertheless, the show starts out and we see this young guy, this young group of people going into the tower because they're called climbers, people who they're like soldiers that train to go into the tower because they're always going to need people to do that. My immediate thought when I saw Gilgamesh, the king at this point, is how come he has to still be in power? Like he's like 100 plus, which we don't even know why yet, but there's a specific reason. And he's like, I was thinking he's done his time, because I'm a big believer in just do your time. I don't think we should all be suffering forever. It's just like with work. You go, you do your job, and then you move on with your life, and hopefully you can enjoy yourself, right? So part of what I'm saying is why has there not been effort made to actually prepare those of us in these generations, actually prepare? There's a lot of negative words. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of, I don't know how you didn't know how to do this, how you know how to do that. But there was not a lot of teaching going on, right? And as I've told you guys, most of the lessons you hear me talk about on my channel, I learned the hard way, right? So I'm thinking, why is this poor man, if he was the last person, because he was the last person who was able to defeat the dragon. So far, since then, no one's been able to do it, right? And so that's why he's still in power, and there's more to do with that. And so there's these young boys, they're going up with a couple, well, there's a mixed group. But the two main people I'm going to talk about right now is this older and younger brother, right? And they're going in, and as they go in, the oldest brother is known as the Dragon Slayer because he slayed dragons before in the tower, but he never was able to take down the Draga, which, by the way, this tower, or so they think at the beginning anyway, is 64 floors. But like I said, they're all different environments, different types of demons, different one of them, they had to like play this game and get through these 50 levels of this game. One of them, they've got like this. It's just insane. You know what I mean? Some of them are like freezing cold, and if they stop moving, they'll die immediately. Some of them are like it's like hell. So anyway, and then at the end of all of that, you're then supposed to take down this insane dragon at the top, right? And if you take down this dragon, there's something you can get, and then if you get this thing, you can make a wish or something, whatever. But there's some things that they don't know. Anyway, they embark. The oldest brother gets annoyed at the youngest brother, right? Because the youngest brother, he goes in guns blazing, yeah. This is what I'm saying about like us as young folks and like just thinking about the generational dynamics. He doesn't know what his brother knows. So his brother knows a lot because he's been in the tower. And that actually turns out to be a problem, right? It doesn't turn out to be a positive. It turns out to be a negative. And his brother doesn't know what's in the tower. So his brother's just believing in everything. And that's what I think is the beauty of youth, is like you just believe in everything and you're not clouded by all the reasons why you can't. You're only just fixated on the fact that you want to and you believe that you can. And there's an element of childlike delusion to it, which I want to go back to the delusion I had as a child. If I went back to the delusion I had as a child, I'd probably be in the promised land, mate. Right? So I'm thinking about this. Anyway, so his older brother's like, see, I knew I couldn't take you with us, because they end up having to cancel that trip because his brother nearly dies, the youngest one going in head first. And rather than, again, his brother teaching him any valuable lesson, he just says, you just need to stay out, like, you know, like what adults, you just need to stay out. You don't know what you're talking about. And so the brother's never being told, and I feel for him throughout the show because he's always having people telling him what to do. But like to just shut up and just give up but no one's ever explaining anything. So all this wisdom they've gained, they're not sharing it. They're not telling him why. His brother's not told him why, because he finally finds out why his brother was doing this just at the very end. And it's dark. It's dark. And I'm going to tell you what it is actually now. The fact is, once you defeat the dragon, whoever defeats the dragon is cursed. Once the dragon is killed, they're cursed with having to live alone in the shadow realm for eternity. So they get immortality. Their physical body will exist eternally, but their real version of themselves will exist in full solitude in this shadow realm for eternity. And you only know this if you make it this far, right? So his brother knows about this, yeah? And so this is what I'm saying. These are things where it's like, well, if you knew that, like sometimes I feel like that with the older generations like that. It's like, well, if you knew, then why don't you say something rather than just sitting there and just telling us to just listen and not explaining anything? Because we're out here struggling, because he's the youngest brother. It's like they're all dealing with the demons. It's not like we're living life and he's just getting carried away, going up this tower just for the sake of nothing. He's doing it because they have to periodically deal with these demons that just fall out from the sky, that are destroying people, that are killing people. They've lost both of their parents as a result of these demons, by the way. So no, he can't just turn the friggin' blind eye, and no, he shouldn't just be expected. So I felt for him, because I was like, bro, I've been there when you're just like, ain't nobody telling you nothing. Everybody's like, because that's how I feel like my life is. If not for God telling me things, all the stuff I want to know, like no one's telling me, like no one's there. It's not there. The older generations, they know a lot of stuff, and then they kind of look at you afterwards like, oh yeah, we knew that. And it's like, so why didn't you tell us? They take so much pride in not being helpful. And this is what we're going to see in the show. So anyways, the brother comes out, they leave, and then because he doesn't get it, he doesn't know any of this information, he accidentally hears his brother when the brother and the rest of the team are about to head back after they've come back, right? They're going to go back without him. And he overhears them talking about that the king is going to be assassinated. So he doesn't have the context that the king can't actually die, and this is just all a part of the plan. So then he decides to find his own team, and he's like, we've got to go and protect the king. And again, he stupidly does go, and because he's very powerful, he just needed a bit of help, you know what I mean? A bit of training, a bit of wisdom, a bit of guidance, and a bit of people that were actually that would actually take his back and actually give him a chance. So he goes and he does see the king being assassinated. And again, he thinks that he's just going to be like, guys, I saw everything. Like in the thing, without realizing he now looks guilty. So the guy who kills him, and this is another fascinating thing, his name is, what's it called? Because it's the supposed demon that inspired the Labubu. His name is Pazuzu, and he's working for the demonic kingdom, right? Because there's an actual demon called Pazuzu that looks similar to the Labubu. So I just thought it was funny, because I don't really care about that stuff. I never really mentioned it on the internet, because of course. But it just was funny that the guy who was trying to like assassinate the king, essentially, that was his name. So he's the one who's actually doing the job. And I don't know whether he knew or he didn't know that he couldn't kill the king, because I guess the older brother knows that the king can't die because the king's immortal now. So he can't be killed by mortal things. Again, a whole bunch of people. So I'm just like, okay. But the problem still lies that no one's defeated the dragon, right? And the demons are falling out and there's no answers. Welcome to 2026, right? So the kid goes with his friends. He picks up these people who just decide to follow him, this girl who helps him. And little does he know that on his own team that he now is taking to now go and take on the tower. And everyone's like, you can't do that. Because bless his heart again, he goes out into the street. I was like, this is something I would love to do, but I feel like I'd have the same exact experience. When all the climbers are meeting up and he's like, guys, I want to go to the tower and I'm going to take down Draga and da-da-da-da-da. And then there's all the grown men like, ah! But none of them have done it. So who are you to laugh unless you've done it? That's my thing again with older generations. Who are you to judge when you ain't achieved it yourself? You get to judge on your high horse when you actually make it there. You don't get to judge if you're just another failure, because now we're still going to have to pick up the slack. And hey, who knows? Maybe it's us who's going to do it. It's giving Joshua in the Bible. So this is what I'm saying about all of this. So he ends up with a team. Anyway, long story short, the team he has, older mage, who has this young little girl who's a maid. She's a freaking beast, because not only does she carry him, as in like physically carry him, she carries all their tools, all the food, all the everything. And she's so sweet and nice. And all he does is complain. This is again the older generation thing. Is he helpful when it matters? Yes. Does he clearly know valuable wisdom that is going to help the entirety of this journey? Absolutely. The thing is, he only offers it when he feels incentivized. And other than that, all he does is complain the whole time. And it's like, we don't need the negativity of how difficult this situation is. We know. And like, so they'll be going up to the levels. Do you know how many people have died at this point? Do you know how many people have died at this point? And it's just like, oh my gosh, we know, but we've committed. We don't know, but we've committed to this journey anyway. So what use is that information? Because actually, when you hear those kinds of voices, because it's like how I feel like when being around adults, it actually does put it actually is faith reducing. This is why I like to be around people, because I feel like listening to other human beings, it makes me feel like I'm losing faith. You know what I mean? Like, I went in with all the faith in my heart, right? And the Bible tells us to have childlike faith. I went in with all the belief in my heart. And then the more I hear from others, because that's exactly how my life has been. Like I've told you guys this before. Every single thing I've done, people are telling me, there's no way you can do that. There's no way you can do that. There's no way you can do it. So-and-so tried before. This and that tried this time. That time tried. Everybody's tried and they couldn't do it. So why would you be able to do it? Well, why wouldn't I? And at the very least, and this is always my attitude, why not then at least try it? Because as they're now going through, so we've got the older dude and his young little maid, and she puts up with him, right? And his behavior, as we all do, have to. So like at one point, he gets really mad at her because he's just grumpy all the time. And he's like, oh, I don't like the sea cucumbers. And I don't like this. He's just complaining, even though she's cooking him good meals. Everybody else is like, we're so grateful. Thank you for cooking for us. And he's like, oh, I don't even like this food. I don't even, no. And then he's like, and she's like, oh, really? Well, this is good for you. And and whatever. And he's like, yeah, but it just tastes disgusting. Like, blah, blah, blah. And he's all like in pride because he used to be the mage of the entire kingdom or whatever, right? But those days are gone, bud. That I honestly need to start saying that to the older people. Like, those days are gone, bud. I might just say it just like that. And so then at one point he tells her, right, and this is when it really hit me. I was like, oh, this show is really here to just push that knife in even further. There was a part in the show where he was cooking for her and he's being really ungrateful, right? Because bearing in mind, they're in a cave, they're in hell, they're going up this tower. So the fact that he's even getting a square meal is a luxury, right? And again, nobody else cared. And again, he was also dead weight. He was always the one struggling. Again, she'd have to carry him a lot of the time. He couldn't even keep up. So as far as I was concerned, I was like, why have you even got him here? I honestly think we should try our odds without him. Because I was getting so annoyed. Like, and I remember as I was watching the show, every time my mind would drift, it would always be as soon as he started talking. Him and some of the other older folks in the show, as soon as they would start talking, that's when I would forget that I was actually watching an anime, which says a lot because usually my eyes are glued to the screen. And I wouldn't even reply, because it's just like white noise. Like, this isn't helping anyone. This isn't helping the task at hand. You know. And at one point they got into an argument. And he's like, "Oh, fine. I don't want you to be my chef, to be with me anymore. You're fired." And then she left, and she really did leave. And she went and had a lovely little side quest. Met another kid who was also fighting to like help his community, because there's a whole city and there's a whole city going on in hell, which a guy reminds me of, like, you know how people say with these celebrities today, and like a lot of these people, these heinous folks, how they've been building cities like underground and stuff. So I do believe they probably have their own like genuine utopia cities where they go and hang out and do whatever they do. And then when they need to pop up and create a fiasco and create a performance, a facade for the rest of us, then they come out into the press and they have the press all catching everybody doing everything and whatever, right? And all these strategic Hollywood and couples, and like, oh, Kim Kardashian. So the other day I was like, Kim Kardashian is Lewis Hamilton now. Like, that's crazy. And so yeah, so she finds this kid, and then they both kind of are similar, where they just, you know, it's really sweet anyway. And then so eventually they see each other and they come back together, and she helps him out as usual because she carries his tools as well, and he never apologizes. And I can't let that go. Every single episode I wait to hear an apology. When other people are able to, you know, take accountability, at no point did this man ever take a single accountability for nothing. And guys, that's not helpful in a team. It's not helpful at all. The only time we saw this guy's real feelings is like literally towards the last few episodes, where she had got stolen by Gilgamesh in the top tower, right, for whatever reason, and he was worried about her. Now all of a sudden he's like doing everything in his power. All of a sudden he can run. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, what the hell? And oh my gosh, it was annoying me, right? But I was like, at least this is validating. This is exactly my experience, right? So going back to the rest of the team, they have a young lady there. They all have different kinds of powers. The main character, he has a shield, which is really wholesome, because he's like, oh, the only thing I want to do is shield everybody. And I just thought that's so sweet, because other people are out here trying to have like the wildest weapons. And in the end, he just really... And then actually Gilgamesh, the king, did give him his sword, the one... Because when Gilgamesh got assassinated, he knew what was going to happen, because he would have been in love, obviously, right, with this goddess of whatever, Ishtar, which again is one of these names that is used across history for different things, whatever. And so they used to be in love. So obviously their love was separated. We're not going to get to the love of it all, because if that's how... Anyway, whatever. And so she's like a spiritual being. So she can like visit him in the version of him that's on Earth. Well, the version of him that's on Earth and the version of him that's in the Shadow Realm are connected. But like the version of him in the Shadow Realm is him when he died. So he's still a young man. And the version of him in the natural world was obviously really old man. But she can visit him there. And their goal is they want to get somebody to kill him. I think it's something like, if they kill him up in the tower, then he will come back to being within himself, and he can actually finally die, because he's now bored in the house. He's been alive for so long, and he's like, I just want it to be over. Like, this isn't fun anymore. Like, he was a really good man. And this is again what I find fascinating, how people fight so hard to live long, but like, what are you fighting for? Like, what life are you fighting to protect exactly? And what kind of state of being are you going to be in? Because like, as they were going up the tower now, and his brother was also in there, and his brother kept being like, you shouldn't be here, you need to leave, you know, whatever. And again, not explaining anything. Other groups end up coming. So the palace sends all their best warriors into this as well. Some other people from climbers, whole bunch of groups, loads of groups go in, right? Because it's kind of like whoever gets it, and the chances of making it out can be kind of slim as well. So there's all different kinds of people. So you have the proper like royal guard with their marching and their whatever. And then you have like the other whatevers. So some of the other guys, like as they would go higher and higher, and then after, because no one respected this kid, by the way, at all. Until, you know, he would always just throw himself headfirst into the monsters. And it was funny. The funny thing was that because he would always throw himself in headfirst and everybody was kind of worried about him, some people would step in to help him. Other people would use it as an opportunity. And the funny thing was, as in an opportunity for them to make an attack, but a more safe attack, because he was almost always the decoy. And to the point that by the end of the show, he's like, hey, I'll be the decoy. I don't care. I'm willing to give it all up for everything. I don't care. What life am I fighting for? So I'm saying with these older folks, like I'm looking at all these old crusty dusty like world leaders and like, what are you fighting for? What are you clinging so hard to power for? What is it? Because you have a lot of things. It's not like you're turning your countries into anywhere proud to be. You're just clinging on to it because of what? What life are you clinging on to? Because why would I want to cling on to a life? Like this was thinking in the show. Why would I want to cling on to a life where I'm living in this thing where we know every periodically the demons are just flying out, everybody's dying, it's absolute pandemonium chaos. What life is there to protect? Because that's not life, mate. That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like exactly the world I'm living in right now. So, he's going out there and he's fighting for it, right? And him and his team, and he's got people that for some reason just believe in him and are just following him anyway. And so then they go into all of this, and along the way, there are a lot of casualties. And as you keep going higher and higher, people reach their threshold. It's like I say to you guys about how winning is like going up a mountain, and how there's a lot of people at the bottom and there's very few people at the top. And everybody might start out at the bottom thinking they're making it to the top, but you only really know once you're in it. And that's what I'm saying with a lot of things that people say, like, oh, if this happened, if this happened, if that happened, if that happened. Let's see when the opportunity arrives, how you actually respond. Because how you actually respond versus what you right now are thinking is what you would do are probably two separate things. Right. So anyways, they're climbing up this, they're going up. As they're going up, at every certain layers, you got the baby layers. And this is the one that ticks me off, that you guys can imagine. These are older trained folks talking about, guys, I think I've seen enough. I'm going to let you guys all keep going. I got to go home and feed my cat. Feed your cat. Your cat might not be alive for the freaking demons dropping out of the freaking tower. What do you mean you got to go feed your cat? What do you mean you're giving up this late? What do you mean you came this far in just to not make it all the way through to the end? Moses' generation. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. I can't stand being here, guys, because I'm like, we're either going to fully send it or leave me alone. Like, we're either fully sending it, putting our lives on the line, or because in another few episodes down the line going up, there's less of them, but they're all kind of working together now, because it's like the toughest of all the groups, the toughest of the royal guard is working with the toughest of this guy's group, is working with the toughest of the climbers, as in the people that are kind of just in it, and they all kind of respect each other now because they've all been taking down demons and they've all been working out. Actually, we may as well just work as a team until we figure it out later down the line. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. This is, again, how like the world operates and how the body of Christ doesn't. It's like we could just work together to then just figure it out down the line, some of the specifics. But instead we're like, oh, we can't work together. The world is like, oh, we're going to all work together and we'll figure it out down the line. So they got to that part. So then now they've all kind of respected each other. They can all fight together because they realize, oh, we're not even each other's enemies in here. There's no point making each other our enemies. Our enemies is really the enemy, this tower right now. So we may as well just work together, and we all have different things that help. And there was just this really powerful one where I love this moment, because again, this is what I'm saying, that sometimes when the older generation does what they're supposed to be doing, it's so helpful. So these guys see, one of the main highest ranking soldiers in the army, in the king's army, knew of this kid. So when they bumped into each other in the towers, he was like, the kid goes up to him, he's like, he basically goes to say that he wants to help them. He thinks they should work together. And the main guy's a bit like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? And then the other woman, because she knows him and she's seen him, she gives him a whole bunch of money to go and recruit some people, because they're trying to take on this dragon, and they can't take on this dragon alone. None of the groups can, and nobody that's there. So she gives him a bag of money. She's like, go and do whatever you have to do. So then he goes with his team, and who's made up mostly of girls, I just like to add as well. And it worked in their favor, because when he tried to ask the guys to fight, they didn't want to do nothing, right? They were just like, haha, look at you, pipsqueak, whatever. And then the girls just turned on the charm. They were all flirting. They were all giving examples of, so if you sell this part of the dragon, you'll make this amount of money. So if we work together, even if everybody likes it, the one of them's doing that, the other one's doing the charm thing, the flirtations of it all, you know what I mean? The other one is like gambling with them, because obviously they're underestimating her, so she's beating them, and then they're thinking, oh, we're just going to kill you anyway. You think that we care that we lost. We're just going to kill you because we got just the huge egos. And then she's destroying them, and then they're impressed. And then eventually, one of the girls, the youngest one, she was the one who doing the really tiny one. And she gets onto the stage and she's like, guys, I just want to let you know that, like, this is how much money we got for whoever can help us take down. And then they end up recruiting all these people. And it's really this really cool, powerful moment where they run out and they stab the dragon. And it's like, and then his brother's like, again, his brother took forever to divulge the information that, oh, you want to kill the dragon, you got to get the 2 fire pockets in his chest, which I thought was a little bit obvious. But then I thought maybe it's not. I don't know. And so then I'm like, you could have given that information up sooner. And so anyway, they all take down the dragon and then they're all respecting each other. And then now he's the dragon slayer. Yeah, he went from the pipsqueak to the dragon slayer. Interesting. And yeah, long story short, as they get even past to this point, some people are like, oh, I gotta go because, you know, if there's still more levels, like, I gotta protect my life. And that's where I was just like, is this the problem we're having? Because I feel like this is the problem we're having. Like, when it comes on a generational level, I feel like people in Moses' generation were too comfortable that to at least have their lives protected, right? That they were never really willing to push themselves. And I feel like, at least for my generation, I can speak for, or even my own self, I don't feel protected. I don't feel safe. I don't feel like I have life. I feel like I have death already. Like, I'm not having fun. There's no way to have fun in this society. It's hell. I'm looking at all the things to do with the life that I've lived in my childhood and all this stuff, and it's all depressing. Like, this isn't life. This isn't a life worth going back to. So to hell with, like, quitting or not making it all the way through to the end. And then the older generations, because they've given up, they don't even at least give you the courtesy of giving you either the support, the wisdom, the training to at least set you up for the best. They just make excuses. They just call you out. That's what it is. That's what it is. And I know that because even growing up all the time, oh, you're so mature for your age. I wish my kids were like you. I've had so many people, guys, it breaks my heart. There are numbers of people who've told me their parents told them that they wish their child was more like me. And I'm like, do you know that I was depressed my entire life? I wanted to kill myself since I was 7 years old. Do you know that nothing I ever did was ever good enough for anyone? Do you know that I've never really been able to feel any sense of safety? Do you know that the only reason I was the woman that I was is because I gave my life to Christ at 7 years old? And God was working overtime at every single stage. That when everybody's telling me that I can't, him telling me that I can, right? When I need to learn life lessons and I don't know this and I'm ignorant to this, he's teaching it to me. He's being patient. He's being kind. He's being loving. He's never made me feel like there's anything I can't do without him. Because his way isn't even, oh, you can't do that. His way is, oh, if we work together, we can do anything. And so this is why I'm bored in the house of the older generations. And again, they're just like this idiot I was saying about on the show. They have so much stuff to give because he would be pulling out these moves. And I'm like, why are we spending so much time complaining then? Just help. Just help. Help. Use what you do have. Oh, but it's not going to go anywhere because nothing's going to happen. Like, I get it, guys. Look, I get it. Look at me here, depressed now. Yeah, nearly 30. Yeah. I get it. Getting older, you realize everything's to hell. Everything's to hell. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. I know that. But guess what? It's like the same way that I just can't stand being around older people because they always want to tell you about, like, you should enjoy your youth right now because it's only going to get worse from here. It's only going to get worse from here. Your life is going to go downhill. And I'm like, thank you for killing the vibe. You're killing the vibe. You're telling me to enjoy myself while telling me that I should be prepared for the worst that's coming. Right? Or it's that back in our day, it was like this. It was so good. I feel sorry for you people growing up today. So do we. We don't need you to remind us because we're aware. Trust me, we're very aware because all you guys have ever done is talk about, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, back in the 60s, back in the whatever. We're very well versed in what was going on. when you guys were all the ones creating the pathways, giving the platforms to the very people right now on these Epstein lists and Diddy lists and all of that, right? Or you guys were the ones going to all these pastors, preachers, leaders, right? Going, attending their churches where you're only there for your own selfish concerns and desires anyway, right? While you're all there just turning a blind eye to the things happening to children because people turn the blind eye to those things that happened to you, and you didn't have the bollocks, nor did you have the humility to humble thyself before the Lord. When you were being taken out from Egypt, when God was freeing you despite your attitudes, despite the fact that you are the most adulterous, because we all are adulterous people, and God has freed you out of Egypt and is trying to free you from the chains, but you can't handle the wilderness. You can't handle being held accountable. You can't handle switching over to the other side where you're reliant on God and not yourself. You can't handle it. And then because you can't handle it, the only truth you can see is that it's not doable, because that's the easy option to tell yourself, so you don't have to take accountability for the fact that you lost. When I read about what happened with Moses here and how he went and said what he said to the people, when he was like, what, do you expect me to tap my rod onto a rock and water's going to come out? I was thinking, lose. What an L. What an L. Oh my gosh. And then to just sit back and just run back. And just run back to where you are now. To what? Just coast on by. To just be doing nothing. What? But you have your life. What's so good about it? Because maybe because I wasn't there for the good old days, right? Back in your day. Right? Maybe because I wasn't there for that. I don't know what's so good about it. Maybe that's why I'm missing something. Tell me. Because that's how I feel about it all. Because I'm just like, what the hell is there to fight for? What life am I fighting for? This isn't life. This is hell. This is the closest I'm ever going to get to hell. This is miserable. I've outlined in the previous videos today exactly why I say this, by the way, in detail as to why I don't even want to work in any industry. I've gone there with all the specifics. The previous one, I talked about my issues with Christianity. There is no nothing other than going straight for the kill. And by that, I mean taking on the kingdom of darkness. Directly. Prepared to lose our lives for the cause. Because that's what it's also supposed to mean to be a Christian. That's what I think is crazy about Christians. How you protect your little safety blanket, your little safety space. Yeah, okay, I feel safe here. Like, at least I'm alive. What did Jesus do? Jesus literally Jesus knowingly was going to lose his life. And if he wasn't, because that's the problem, you guys. As soon as there's any little thing that the devil can offer us, this is what the people in Moses' generation just didn't seem to understand. Right? Anytime there's anything that's going to get you to take a step back, the devil is going to make sure you have it. That's why being a child is amazing, because as far as you are as a kid, you think everything's possible. So there's nothing that's going to make you hold back. You're not thinking about, oh, well, what if I die or whatever. You're thinking about all the possibilities. The older you get, you're thinking about, oh, your body is aching and you're changing this and you're on this, that, and my back is hurting. I'm on this medication. I can't move the way I used to. And you're just concerned about the fact that you're being very well made aware of the fact of the state of which life actually is. Right? And so then the devil gives you a little quick payoff or a little quick, hey, maybe as long as, because that's the thing what the devil loves. It's like, he knows that. And this is why it's heinous. I'm sure the more he sees it in us, the more he hates us, which is why he keeps doubling down. Because I realize him knowing God and him seeing everything and seeing how we behave must just continually further his hatred. Like, we don't realize, like, this is what I'm saying. We're not doing anybody any help. I'm not saying the things I'm saying, because it's like, you're just giving the devil more reasons, more visualizations of just how disappointing we are. Because he's like, see, I knew it. I knew you would take a bribe. I knew you would take the easy way out. I knew you couldn't make it to the end. I knew you couldn't do it. That's the voice that's in my head. That's the reason why I can't take my own life, you guys. Because to hell with me taking the L. That's why I have to suffer through. Right? And that's why it's kind of inevitable that it would always happen this way. Because it's like the devil's going to keep saying, well, what more can I offer you? This is why as the days go on, all this craziness is happening. Every opportunity I could take for so many things. But I'll be compromising I'll be compromising on my values. I'll be working for the kingdom of darkness. And so I'm just here looking at it like, I honestly value being young for the fact of, I think we just need to stop listening to them and they just need to step down. Just step down and just either be useful or shut up. Genuinely. Like, be useful or shut up, because look, you can't do anything anyway. If the war breaks out, it's not going to be the men of your age group going out to fight. It's going to be the men of my age group going out to fight. It's going to be us who are going to have to pick up the slack as always. So I don't really care what you have to say. Your churches are not powerful. Your churches are not fighting forces. You guys aren't anything to be proud of. You can't even at least do the basics like family and get even that right. Can't even do that. You can't even at least raise children in a house full of love in a world where they get to be raised off of TikTok and the education system, and still that's too much to ask from you. Weak. And the ancestors that came before you, they used to do all these things themselves. They used to have skills and talents. They used to go out and work and actually, I know not to be the one to say men used to build houses, but men used to build houses. Women used to build homes. That's what I always say. Like, we used to do that. And you now, with your little job where you get told what to do, where you get given your instructions, right? And then you do your little job while you have your little snacks, right? And you get paid your paycheck and you go home and you think that you're something just because you know how to pay the bills because you got a mortgage and you got whatever. Get the freak out of my face, bro. Get the freak. Because I know, when I tell people this stuff and when I say certain things to older folks and then they're like, oh yeah, we knew this. I'm like, so why was no one saying... Because they know. It's like how growing up, I told you, this is one of the ones that ticks me off the most. I remember being at school, even younger, and I remember being told by older folks, oh yeah, but R. Kelly, he has a thing for young girls. As if it's just like not a big thing. So it's like we knew. They knew. And they're guilty. And that's why they don't want to see us win either. That's really why they're gatekeeping. The real reason why they gatekeep their information is because they're guilty. Because now we're saying that wasn't okay, and that's calling out the fact that they weren't prepared to say anything when they had the chance. And that's calling out the fact that they just turned a blind eye, or they just chose the selfish option. Yeah, you really did choose the selfish option. So now, because now we're all in the wilderness, and we ain't got what's slavery in Egypt? What's slavery? We don't even know what it was like to just have the bare basics of life just automatically there for you, at least. No, we're in hell. We're in hell, my friends. And so, yeah, that's what I have to say, bro. They gatekeep. They need to step down. You guys need to step down, and you need to step down. I don't want to hear about, oh, you can't. I would put somebody in my generation, not me, because I'm too far gone as well. Now I'm too old and I'm too whatever. I'll put somebody young in to be like prime ministers, presidents of the world. Somebody young, because you guys are gonna be like, well, how are you gonna know about this? Maybe it's best we don't know about them. Maybe it's best we throw to hell with your traditions and your religions. Maybe we need to just start from the beginning and make everything black and white again. Like I said, basics like in the Bible. You go to work, you get paid that day, you take home what you made. Okay, bam, boom. People owning land, and that just being the thing that we do. Everybody owns a piece of land, everybody gets some land, and everybody whatever. Boom. The basics. That's why I can't stand older folks. They always want to get into these long, intricate conversations, right, about whatever it is, whether it's Christians talking about the theology of this and this and this and this, or other adults talking about in politics, and such and such and such and such, and the foreign policy, and like all these abbreviations, the DOJs, this and that, the members of parliament, the health secretary. I don't care, because it's not getting us anywhere. I don't care because it's not getting us anywhere. It's not getting us anywhere. It's not doing anything. And all your knowledge seems to be useless. It seems to be useless. You're going to die knowing everything, having done nothing. You're going to die and go to heaven, right? And then you're going to be seeing all these, oh my gosh, and then Elijah this, and then David that, and then, whatever. And what did you bring to the group project? Oh, I got freed from Egypt, and then I couldn't really make it through to the wilderness, so I just kind of lived as a slave in Egypt. But you know what? At least I gave my life to Christ. Like, at least I got myself through the door, and for that, I'm glad. Is that what you're going to do? I want to walk in, and I want to be like, I wanted it to be like, there's like cheering, like I just came in, like I done the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be in heaven for eternity. And even if you guys, I'm going to have to live, we're all going to have to live in eternity with the consequences of what happens here. So for eternity, I'm either going to be reminded that I was a winner, or for eternity, I'm going to be reminded I was a loser. Nah, bruh. I better at least go out fighting with everything I have, because that's something to be proud of. Because even still, let's say I didn't achieve nothing or whatever, and I end up dead before I reach all the goals, that I can get into heaven, and these guys can be like, you did your best. Well done. We're proud of you. Like, you did your best. What are you going to do? You're going to go and see these people that did all this stuff, all these people you've been meat riding all these years, and for what? And for what? You know what? I at least respect the people in the kingdom of darkness, to the high level, the governments, the industries, and all this. At least they're doing their best. At least they're doing their big one. You know what I mean? At least they're giving it all. At least they fully sent it. You know, I don't obviously approve of any of it, but at least they fully sent it. At least they fully sent it, you know? And at least even the old folks over there on that side, they're even still trying hard. I'm like, raw. Okay. Why are we so obsessed with holding on to the power? Because they have to cling on to their lives, because that's all they have. This life is the only life they're ever going to have. This life. So, of course, they're clinging to their life, but that's what makes it fun over here, because, like, I don't need to cling on to my life, because Jesus defeated death. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. So then the question then also becomes, like, do you actually have faith? Because if you feel like you need to protect your life, so I'm like, God said my life is protected, so that's his business. That means I just need to focus on whatever else I need to do. So the next question becomes, do you actually have any faith then at all at the end of the day then? Because you're working so hard to protect this, whatever this is that you're trying to do. It's almost as if maybe your faith isn't what you are claiming it is. Dare I say? It's almost as if you don't actually believe that Jesus defeated death. Maybe. Things to think about. So yeah, anyway, that's what I have to say on that. I'm just sick of it. Like, I just think I think we need to, like, if it was possible, and there was like a soundboard, and on the soundboard there were different knobs for each like generation, and whether we can hear them speak or not, I would just turn them off. Gen X, Boomer, whatever, I just turn it off. Respectfully, because you're just not doing anything. And now you're also all getting to the age where you can't do much more, and you're still not doing anything. So, other than spouting off, complaining, having everything negative to say, and then turning around to have actually had the useful information. So it's like, so while you were there bashing gums, because that's where you're headed to, when you're going to need some dentures soon. So that phrase is going to age well, unlike you. That's what I'm saying. I have to try so hard not to be a savage, because, yeah, I could be really... Right? You could have been bashing them gums to give wisdom. You could have been bashing them gums to be helpful, to give insight. But instead, you're bashing them just to complain and complain and complain and complain. To complain and complain. It's ridiculous. And then somehow, at the end of the day, you guys are the ones you think we're supposed to look up to. We're supposed to be impressed by. We're supposed to respect. If listening to you guys means we're going to turn out like you, I don't want to listen to any of you. If taking your advice means turning out how you have turned out, I want to do whatever is the opposite of what you did. Yeah. Respectfully. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave this one here. Who knows if we're coming back for another one. This will be my third video of the day. I recommend you watch them all in order, because it's kind of an ongoing thought. Because I'm just trying to really think about, like, what's the solution here, God? Because there's no one to work with here, really, is there? I've got you guys, and that's what's giving me hope, because it's like, it only takes a small group of people. So I'm like, maybe God has an idea and he has a plan that I just don't fully understand yet, which is almost likely the case. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough. I don't care about you guys' feelings. Respectfully, what's more useful for the world? Is it caring about you guys' feelings, or saying what needs to be said and doing what needs to be done? What's going to be more helpful? So sorry, no, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care. I don't care if people don't think I'm being nice or people think I'm being rude. I really don't care. Because what am I going to do? Be nice just to go back as a slave in Egypt? The heck? The hell? And then what am I going to say when I get to heaven? Oh, you know what, guys? Before God on Judgment Day. You know what, God? I hope that you're proud of me because I was nice. I may not have done nothing for the kingdom. I may have let the kingdom of darkness win. I may have died a loser. But you know what? At least I died a nice loser. But then I call myself a child of God. I'm saying I serve the Most High God. It's not making sense, you guys. This is what I'm saying. So anyway, this is all I think about, guys. This is all I have to talk about. I don't want to talk about anything else. And as I said, the only word I want to hear is revolution. And if you're not saying that word, I don't want to hear it. Older generations, you're more than welcome if you're able to humble thyself. Otherwise, please respectfully step down and shut up. And on that note, life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.